In our headlines on this Monday, August 4th, here in South Korea. South Korea is dismantling loudspeakers directed toward North Korea in its latest attempt to ease tensions on the Korean peninsula and to allow for a peaceful approach to denuclearization. And the Lee Jae-myung administration's plan to place South Korea among the world's top 3 AI powerhouses is taking shape, given the selection of 5 companies to compete in the development of South Korea's own AI model. Meanwhile, President Lee Jae-myung began his 5-day summer break today and is spending it on Chodo Island in Gov't City, Gyeongsang-namdo Province. We start here on the national front, where work is underway to dismantle loudspeakers directed toward North Korea in hopes of easing tensions on the Korean peninsula. Our defense correspondent Kim Bo-kyung reports.
South Korea's military decided to remove loudspeakers on Monday that were used for anti-Pyongyang broadcasts. The move comes amid the Lee Jae-myung administration's attempts to ease tensions on the Korean peninsula.
Our military has begun dismantling the loudspeakers directed toward North Korea, starting today. This is a practical measure aimed at easing tensions between the two Koreas, carried out within a scope that does not affect our military readiness.
Removing the loudspeakers comes less than 2 months after President Lee ordered the suspension of broadcasts in early June, an action also followed by North Korea afterwards. Around 20 fixed loudspeakers will be removed within 2 to 3 days, as mobile loudspeakers had already been taken away when the broadcasts were suspended. North Korea still has its loudspeakers in position, though they are not being used. Despite Seoul's proactive measure, one expert says Pyongyang is not going to consider that this is a major step towards opening up dialogue, as it is just a follow-up measure of physically getting rid of loudspeakers after the government promised to suspend broadcasts. However, he did say this was going to help the two Koreas build a bit more trust.
It's hard to say that this directly addresses the fundamental issues that North Korea is demanding. However, by taking actions as the South Korean government had stated, it could help build a bit more trust from Pyongyang toward Seoul.
Pyongyang is known to be demanding the end to Korea-U.S. joint military exercises. However, this is unlikely to happen, as the upcoming Ulchi Freedom Shield is expected to go ahead as originally planned as of Monday, according to the Defense Ministry. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
South Korea will invest roughly 118 billion won, or roughly $85 million by 2029, to enhance its joint command system with the U.S. According to the Defense Acquisition Program Administration, Seoul will upgrade the Allied Korea Joint Command and Control System, which is used in joint drills like the Ulchi Freedom Shield. The upgrade includes AI-based automation, cloud service, and new auto-translation, as well as video conferencing tools. This latest investment follows recent remarks by Defense Minister An Gyu-baek regarding the potential transfer of wartime operational control from the U.S. to South Korea. Foreign Minister Cho Hyun says U.S. soldiers will stay stationed on the Korean peninsula and that Seoul will work with Washington and Tokyo to navigate relations with Beijing. In an interview with the Washington Post, Seoul's top diplomat brushed aside concerns of a potential U.S. troop reduction, adding that he had secured assurances against any such plan from American senators during his trip to D.C. last week. With regard to regional matters, Cho observed that China was becoming, quote, somewhat problematic for its neighbors given its maritime actions. However, he also highlighted the importance of seeking to engage China instead of simply seeking to contain it, while working with partners like Japan to uphold international law. The first summit between President Lee Jae-myung and his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump will take place within this month. The upcoming agenda was reaffirmed by Foreign Minister Cho Hyun this past Sunday upon his arrival from Washington, D.C., but he refrained from disclosing a date. With regard to security, he added that he and his U.S. counterpart Marco Rubio touched upon the commitment to the combined defense posture of their two countries and to extended deterrence. The Lee Jae-myung administration's plan to place South Korea among the world's top 3 AI powerhouses is taking shape, given the selection of 5 teams to compete in the development of South Korea's own AI model. Our economic correspondent Kim Do-hyun explains.
The South Korean government on Monday unveiled 5 AI creation teams to lead the country's push for AI sovereignty. Naver Cloud, Upstage, SK Telecom, NCAI, and LG Group's AI team will now enter a high-stakes competition to develop the proprietary AI foundation model project worth 200 billion won, or approximately $150 million.
The latest selection evaluated each team's technological capabilities and development experience, the scale of their development goals and strategies, as well as their potential impact and plans to contribute to the broader AI ecosystem.
Initially, 15 entered the race, with the first round in July cutting down 5 to have 10 groups give presentations. The final 5, while big-name groups, are teamed up with universities and other tech companies to form consortia. These 5 will now face a survival-style competition with phased evaluations every 6 months, ultimately narrowing down to just 2 final teams by 2027. The goal is to create domestic models that achieve at least 95% of the performance of the latest global AI models launched within the past 6 months. The project also emphasizes from-scratch capabilities, including model architecture design and pre-training from the ground up, not just adjusting existing form models. The initiative is part of President Lee Jae-myung's core pledge to build an AI for all society and realize Korea's ambition to become one of the world's top 3 AI powerhouses. The final 5 will now receive government backing, including access to high-performance GPUs. First, until mid-2026, private sector GPUs will be leased using 157.6 billion Korean won allotted from a recent supplementary budget. Later, the government will provide up to 8,000 GPUs per team from a pool of 10,000 units purchased by the government. Data support. Each team will also receive 10 billion won annually for data support, with an additional 3 to 5 billion won allocated for data construction and processing.
A bold new challenge begins. We believe in the strength of Korea's AI companies and institutions, and the government will stand with them every step of the way.
Kim Do-hyun, Arirang News.
South Korea's recently sealed trade deal with the U.S. has eased uncertainties for the nation's exporters. Now, this is according to Trade Minister Kim Jong-kwon, who reaffirmed on Monday the government's efforts to minimize the impact of U.S. tariffs on local industries. The minister pledged to hammer out additional measures to help Korean businesses sharpen their edge, especially in strategic sectors including shipbuilding, automobiles, and semiconductors. He also shared gratitude to the business community for its support, with top corporate leaders, that is, actively involved in efforts to secure a trade deal. The government's consumption coupons may have boosted sales at small businesses. Findings by the Korea Credit Data on this Monday show these businesses saw sales jump 2.2% on week during July 21st and July 27th. By shop, sales at eyewear stores surged over 56%, while clothing climbed 28%, and restaurants for noodle and sushi soared 20%. Also, according to the Interior Ministry, 90% of all eligible recipients have applied for the consumption coupons as of July 31st. And the Ministry of SMEs and Startups has shared its export data for the first half of this year. Small and mid-sized businesses exported products worth over 78 trillion won, or some $56 billion, posting 7 straight quarters of on-year growth. Cosmetics led the shipments abroad at around $4 billion, up 19%. Used cars stood second with over 70% surge to $3.9 billion, driven by demand in the Middle East. President Lee Jae-myung began his 5-day summer break today. According to the presidential office, he's spending his holiday on Chodo Island in Koje City, Gyeongsang-namdo province, and plans to reflect on national affairs and to recharge by reading books and watching films. The top office has also activated an emergency reporting system as the president intends to continue monitoring key issues, including those related to people's livelihoods. Four-term lawmaker Chung Chung-nae is taking the helm of the ruling Democratic Party and has vowed tangible reforms as his priority, including those for the prosecution. Our political correspondent Shin Ha-young covers his intentions.
The ruling Democratic Party's newly elected leader has begun swiftly driving reforms to the prosecution, media, and the judiciary. DP leader Chung Chung-nae announced on Monday that the party has launched special committees dedicated to reforming these three sectors.
The three major reforms have already got clear direction and public support, especially in the wake of the recent insurrection. If the special committees set a comprehensive course and push forward, I believe we can fulfill our promise to complete the reforms before the Chuseok holiday.
The four-term lawmaker Chung vowed in his acceptance speech following his election to swiftly push ahead with these reforms. Chung won 61.74% of the vote at the party's convention on Saturday, defeating rival candidate Park Chan-dae, the DP's former floor leader. During the press conference, Chung said he is unable to work with the main opposition People Power Party as it still includes members who support former President Yoon Suk-yeol.
We're at war with the insurrection. It's not about ruling and opposition parties.
The PPP urged the DP leader to respect the opposition as a partner in governance, saying it was the only way to serve the people. With a new leader in place, the Democratic Party is expected to use its majority to push through contentious bills rather than work with the People Power Party, a move that could further heighten political tensions. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
Indeed, the main opposition People Power Party has responded by launching a filibuster at today's plenary session. Convening shortly after 2 p.m., the parties worked through non-contentious bills ahead of the high-profile bills that the PPP has strongly opposed, including amendments to broadcasting and commercial acts, as well as the so-called Yellow Envelope Bill that limits employer action on striking union members. With a filibuster in action, only one bill, the Broadcasting Reform Bill, is likely to pass before the current extraordinary session ends on Tuesday, as current parliamentary law guarantees at least 24 hours of debate. The remaining bills will likely carry over to the August session. Heavy rain in the southern part of the country starting this past Sunday has taken at least one life. Our Park Eun-woo has details.
One man died on Sunday evening as heavy rain pounded the southern regions of South Korea. The man in his 60s was killed in Muan after being swept away while trying to redirect floodwaters away from his greenhouse. Over 142 millimeters of rain fell in just 1 hour in Muan County and Jeollanam-do province, making it one of the heaviest hourly rainfalls recorded since related data was first compiled in 1973. Muan, on average, sees annual rain of around 1,300 millimeters, meaning just over 10% of that fell in a single hour.
A massive amount of moisture had already been present near the Korean peninsula, with a high-pressure system expanding from the Pacific after the typhoon passed, along with cold, dry air pushing down. Moisture was funneled through a narrow path, triggering intense downpours.
The expert also said Korea's recent pattern of extreme rainfall, followed by scorching heat, which in the past only occurred in mountainous areas, should now be seen as the new normal. He added the importance of being prepared.
Acting quickly when alerts are issued, like securing evacuation spaces in advance, and following official guidance without hesitation, is important. Some people still think it won't happen to them, but that mindset can be dangerous.
And he also said potential damage from not believing a warning far outweighs the inconvenience of a false alarm. Though heavy rain alerts for areas including Gwangju were lifted on Monday morning, more downpours are expected across the country throughout this week. Park Eun-woo, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, over in the Middle East, fresh footage of 2 hostages released by Hamas is fueling more despair about the fate of those kidnapped by the Palestinian militant group on the morning of October 7th, 2023. Our Ising reports.
Palestinian militant group Hamas has released 2 videos of 2 Israeli hostages, Yeviatar David and Ram Bravslavsky. The video released by Hamas on Saturday showed David saying that he hasn't eaten for days and is digging his own grave.
כל יום שעובר הגוף שלי הולך, נחלש, נהיה רזה יותר וחלש יותר. מבחינתי זה נראה שאני בדרך למוות שלי.
The video of Ram Bravslavsky was released by Hamas on Thursday, showing the 22-year-old pleading for food, water, and rescue. Both men were abducted from a music festival by Hamas during the October 7, 2023 attacks. In response to the hostage video, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday vowed to destroy Hamas, adding that Israel is determined to free the hostages.
I am filled with even stronger determination to free our kidnapped sons, to eliminate Hamas, and to ensure that Gaza will no longer pose a threat to the state of Israel.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, met with families of hostages held by Hamas on Saturday. There, he told the families that Washington is working with the Israeli government on a plan that would effectively end the war in Gaza. The envoy also said that the militant group was prepared to disarm in a move to end the war. However, the group has repeatedly said it would not lay down its weapons. Witkoff is currently visiting Israel as the U.S. is facing mounting pressure over the worsening humanitarian conditions in the enclave. 이승재, Arirang News.
In other news, the official soundtrack for K-pop Demon Hunters has hit number 2 on the U.S. Billboard 200. Since debuting at number 8 back in June, the album has consistently stayed within the top 5. Meanwhile, K-pop boy band Tomorrow by Together debuted at number 3 on the same chart with its 4th studio album, the name chapter Together. This marks the group's 7th time landing within the top 10 on the chart. Up next, we share with you a trial run of the first autonomous mile bus ride here in capital's Seoul. Our Cho Hyun reports.
The steering wheel of this bus moves automatically even though the driver takes his hands off. The bus stops right after it senses the red light. This is 동작 A01, the very first autonomous 마을 or village bus in the country. The bus identifies traffic and road conditions in real time through 10 sensors and a camera located on the windscreen. The bus's route runs from the middle gate of Sungsil University to the back gate of Jungang University, which is about 1.62 kilometers.
The autonomous shuttle bus gave me a smooth ride, just like when the bus drivers drive. It was comfortable to ride in.
However, the bus driver will be in the driver's seat to monitor the operation in case of an emergency. It also switches to manual operation at certain areas, like children protection zone and 4-lane road for safety.
We operate without human intervention most of the time, only except in case of an emergency.
This autonomous shuttle bus will have a trial run until this week. From next week, passengers can get on the bus free of charge until the beginning of next year. The autonomous shuttle bus is also scheduled to run in 서대문구 and 동대문구 districts in the second half of this year. 차윤경, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you the latest stories from around the globe. Ukraine launched a drone strike on Sunday targeting an oil depot near the Russian city of Sochi. The first significant attack on the Black Sea resort city in years resulted in 2 oil tanks catching fire. Local authorities in the Krasnodar region confirmed that debris from a downed Ukrainian drone struck 2 fuel tanks, starting a fire. Over 120 firefighters worked to extinguish the blaze, and no casualties were reported. An airport in Sochi, the city that hosted the 2014 Winter Olympics, also briefly suspended operations. According to Russia's defense ministry, 93 Ukrainian drones were intercepted over the Krasnodar region and the Black Sea over the weekend. Pope Leo XIV presided over a closing mass for the Jubilee of Youth in Rome on Sunday, attended by more than 1 million young Catholics, marking the largest public event of his papacy. The Mass at Tor Vergata Field brought together young people from approximately 150 countries, alongside 7,000 priests and 450 bishops, marking the close of a week of spiritual and cultural programs. Pope Leo urged the gathering to be the sign that a different world is possible, advocating for peace, fraternity, and resolution through dialogue, rather than violence. He expressed solidarity with young people suffering from the wars in Gaza and Ukraine. The Pope encouraged participants to return home and spread your enthusiasm and the witness of your faith. He also said that the next destination for the World Youth Day would be Seoul in 2027. The Krasheninnikov volcano on Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula erupted on Sunday, marking its first confirmed eruption in approximately 600 years. The eruption began around 6 a.m. local time, sending an ash plume up to 6 kilometers into the sky. The event followed a massive 8.8 magnitude earthquake on July 29th and was accompanied by a 7.0 magnitude aftershock, leading many scientists to suggest that seismic triggering had contributed to the eruption. While eruption intensity is decreasing, moderate explosive activity may continue. Scientists trace the last eruption to around 1463, with an estimated margin of error of plus or minus 40 years. Finally, a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket that launched the Crew-11 mission from NASA's Kennedy Space Center on Friday has successfully docked with the International Space Station just 15 hours later. A SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule carried an international team of 4 astronauts from the U.S., Russia, and Japan. Crew-11 will remain aboard the ISS for at least 6 months, possibly up to 8 months, conducting scientific experiments and station maintenance, potentially extending standard rotation durations. Choi Ji-hee, Arirang News.
Here in the capital, we had bearable heat under partly sunny skies today, hoping to jump right into the autumn. However, a heat advisory has been reissued across much of Korea as of this afternoon, and the heat will get stronger tomorrow. Meanwhile, rain has not completely let up just yet. Tonight, we can expect rain to come and go in most regions. In Gyeongsang-do provinces could see heavy rain of up to 80 millimeters through tomorrow at dawn. Tropical nights will return to most regions tomorrow. Seoul, Gwangju, Busan beginning the day at 26 degrees Celsius. Then by the afternoon, Seoul will make it to 33 degrees. Daegu, Gyeongju at 35 degrees Celsius with a chance of passing showers in some parts. For now, we're looking at heavy downpours to hit the central regions on Wednesday. Then southern provinces will see heavier rain on Thursday. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions.
Those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. Thank you for watching. Coming up next is our daily panel session, so do stay with us.